Hey everyone, Simon here. Today we're going to talk about secrets of Krittika Nakshatra. And if you've seen some of the previous videos that I've done, we've talked about the marker stars, the yoga taras of these nakshatras, and how they give you an insight into the deeper meaning of the nakshatras. For example, we discussed the stars in Vishaka, so secrets of Vishaka Nakshatra, and we saw Zubanel Genubi, Zubanel Skimali give very different meanings. In the future, we'll look at the stars in Scorpio and how they give as well as Sagittarius, and how they give a very different feel to an interpretation to the nakshatras they're in. So today, we're going to talk about Krittika Nakshatra, and its marker star is Alcyon at about 6 degrees Aries, which is the Pleiades, the brightest star in the Pleiades. And those of you who know a little bit about Krittika Nakshatra know that it is a sharp and soft nakshatra. So how can something be sharp and soft? How can it be as sharp as scissors and as soft as lamb's wool? Well, it is. Partly because the symbol for it is scissors, and if you look up at the sky, it does kind of look like a little triangle. This is not it, but it looks like a triangle. It's right here. But if you blow this up, it looks like scissors. But the yoni of this nakshatra, the animal spirit, if you will, is the sheep. And so, okay, maybe that explains it a little bit. Another perhaps explanation is that the Pleiades are the nursery, and a nursery is full of babies, right? But they're also the nursery of Kartikeya, the god of war, who has so much blood on his hands. So there's this sense of being sharp and soft. I'm going to propose another reason to look at this nakshatra from that point of view, and that is the marker stars. So the Pleiades represent Krittika Nakshatra. But another possible star which falls within the 13-degree, 20-minute span of Krittika Nakshatra is the star Algol. And that is the head of Medusa. Let's see, I can't actually blow this up. But if you can see it here in the constellation, this is Algol or Algul. And the word alcohol is related and comes from this because it means spirit or demon. And literally, when we drink alcohol, it's, wine and spirits. When you go to the store, you buy wine and spirits. You're literally buying something to invade and inhabit your person. And so in ancient times, when this star was bright, see, the star also dims. So it has a dual nature. It goes bright and it goes dim. It goes bright. And that's because it's a double star. And its sister stars, as it orbits and eclipses it, makes it go dim. And that's when they used to go to war and cut people's heads off. So it's a very fierce star. In Chinese, it's called a pile of corpses. So think about it. Not very auspicious. And it has to do with cutting people's heads off. Now, people think it's all bad. Medusa was a beautiful maiden. She was one of the most beautiful, and she was cursed by the gods because she did a no-no. She had sex in the temple with one of the deities, and that's not allowed. And so switching over to this slide, we've got some notes here. So she was, and she was very proud of her beauty, but she abused that beauty by, sacrilege to the deity. And so she was cursed to be, ugly, snakes out of her head, and she turned men to stone. Anything she looked at turned to stone. So you can imagine that a person who has this star, or who has their ascendant or the ruler of their second house very close to the star, will have the ability to just say something and turn you to stone and make you a good debater, right? So potentially, this is a good star for a debater, for a martial artist, or for anyone who for who can turn this to constructive uses. So Medusa's head is related to the demon and being possessed, because when your head is cut off, you're possessed by something else. Something else comes in. This is also Lilith, Adam's first wife, and there's a sense of, the wild feminine here, the feminine unleashed, and its ability to turn men to stone. So women who have this prominent may have life experiences that have soured them against men, possibly, and so their mission, then becomes to mete out justice, especially if other stars like Ardra and others are also associated. It is considered, now this is by men, I'll have you know, considered the most evil star in the sky. So it may not be the most evil star in the sky. It depends if it's used properly. So if it's used properly, it can help you cut off the right heads that need to be cut off, potentially. But typically it's associated with misfortune, violence, decapitation, hanging, and having your ego cut down. That's maybe the more everyday meaning of it. But the lesson of this star is, now this is at 2 degrees Taurus, okay? 2 degrees Taurus in the sidereal zodiac, which would be about 26 degrees Taurus in the tropical. If you can control your ego tendencies, it can actually be good for artistic expression. Medusa was the most beautiful, but her hair was changed to hissing serpents by Minerva by sleeping with Neptune. As a result of falling to lust, including indulging your desire, you pay by getting your head cut off. So Krittika, it has powerful desires. It's one of the keys of this nakshatra. I'm going to talk about 5 keys of Krittika today. And one of them is a passion nature. And if you can control that passion, you can create good things. If you let it run like a fire, you just let it run ablaze, it will burn you down. So also, this is the exaltation point of the moon. So this tells you about well, you can worship Shiva or Kali here, because Shiva has a moon over his head. Kali is also associated with the dark moon. So you can worship the feminine or the masculine divine. And when you do that and you let go part of your ego, you cut your head off. That's why Kali, because she cuts heads off, right? Then you can become exalted yourself, like the moon. So that's one thing about Krittika. Now, Algol is just one star. Pleiades is the other star. So Pleiades is at 6 degrees Taurus, and it's the nursery. It's a nursery of stars. Actually, it is a nursery, and it's symbolically a nursery, very supportive and soft. So depending on where your planet is or where your ascendant is, if it's closer to Algol than it is to the Pleiades, then you'll have more of the Algol quality. If you have Krittika in Aries, then it's a slightly different thing. Then you're closer to Algol, but you're also in a weapons drekana. The last 10 degrees of Aries are a man holding an axe. So it's a very power with blood red eyes. So it's a fierce kind of energy. That's more closer to Algol. The Taurus part, especially after the 2 degrees, so from about 4 degrees to 10 degrees of Taurus, it's more soft. That's the softer part of Krittika, because it's Taurus. It's a feminine sign. It's more gentle. The Drekana is not a weapons Drekana. It's an animal Drekana, and actually not an animal Drekana. But it's it's a woman with curly hair. So that's the point, is knowing which star your planet or your cusp is closer to will give you an idea of how to channel this expression. So if you have your 10th cusp on Algol, then your job may be literally cutting people's heads off. You may be in charge of HR, hiring, or maybe you're the executive in charge of firing people. If it's close to Krittika, to Alcyon, the 6th, it's going to be a different energy. So that's the second thing. The third thing is Agni has two faces. The deity of this nakshatra is Agni. Agni has one face towards the spiritual world and one face towards the material world. And so people with Krittika, no matter where your planet is, are going to have two faces, meaning they are one way in private, one way in public. Or they appear to be one way, like typically Krittika people like to be on. So when they're in public, like, yo, what's up? Let's go, let's do this. I'm on. I'm, presenting. But then when they're home, they're totally different. Chitra Nakshatra also has this quality that they're a different personality in public than they are in private. But the two faces of Agni can be, now this can be a good thing, that the person has the ability to change their personality. It can be a bad thing, you can have two-faced behavior. Because Krittika is associated with cheating on your wife, or going with others' wives or husbands. So that's two-faced behavior. So that's the bad part of it. The good part of it is the ability to see two sides of the same coin. Well, the Republicans have some good points, the Democrats have some good points, right? If you're Krittika, you can do that because you see two directions. Most people are like, no, I'm here, or no, I'm here. So that's the good way of using it. It's also looking in the world of spirit and looking in the world of matter. So Krittika people have the ability to take ideas that are in the world of spirit and concretize them. So you have authors, video makers, biographers, people who tell a story, who get a bunch of information and they concretize it. Storytellers are typical of Krittika Nakshatra because you tell stories around the fire, right? And the symbol of this nakshatra is fire. Agni is the deity, and its shakti, its power is Dhana shakti, the power to burn down. Now, actually not burn down, that's Apa Dhana or Ava Dhana. Just Dhana. Dhana means to burn. So just as fire is the center of human civilization, there's a fire in every home, which is the kitchen. It sustains civilization. Likewise, it can burn down all of civilizations. Just look at California right now. So fire has this dual purpose. It's both sharp and soft. It could burn down the world, or it can cook your food and help you digest. So Krittika people have to come to terms with that duality, that at times when they get mad, they could cut people's heads off, but at other times they could be very nurturing and supporting. So we all have the Alcyone, the Pleiades part, and we all have the Algol part in us. Those, see, there's the Pleiades. Those who have Krittika, prominent. But you're going to have one or the other more so the closer that your planet is to it. Okay, makes sense. Now, in their path, this is the ecliptic, planets can be in the Pleiades. I don't think they can reach the star Algol, thank goodness, because it's too far up, it's too high up. Algol would be way up here. You see that? Let me get rid of this here. It's way up here, right where Capella is. And we talked about Capella in another video as Brahma Hridaya, the heart of Brahma, the heart of God, is a very auspicious star. Well, as auspicious as Capella is, that's how inauspicious Algol is. It's a terrible star. But it can have redeeming qualities, but the person has to work very hard on themselves. I mean, that's just, right? They have to overcome a great sin, if you will, the sin of ignorance, typically. So, okay, that's the third thing. So the fourth thing is that Dhana Shakti can, as I said, can be very constructive, but it comes out in many different ways. It can come out as the people are good cooks, or they have a very good appetite with Krittika people. Dhana Shakti can also be the power to create strong visual impressions. They're good on camera. They're good on video. They shine. They have because Agni, that fire, burns in them. So they have something to say. So they make good on camera and off camera, like camera people, videographers, but also speakers in front of the camera who tell a story, reporters, authors, biographers, like that. And finally, let's see what else we have to mention about Krittika Nakshatra. Finally, here's another slide. It's interesting that a lot of presidents or wannabe presidents have Krittika kind of prominent. Putin, Obama, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton has it, and a bunch of others, which is, I don't know, I guess the voracious appetite, the desire to be the leader of your clan. But astrologers also have this, because you become a messenger of the gods. That two-faced quality, when harnessed, so we talked about the two-faced quality sometimes being bad, where the person is a liar or a cheat. When harnessed, you're able to get messages from one place and convey them to the other. So astrologers, it's a great invention, nakshatra. And in my Nakshatra Secrets course, we go into detail, a lot more detail about each of these and how to make the most of the meanings of the nakshatra, including how to know what is your focal nakshatra, how to know how to use them, how to use the full gamut, including the mythology, the name. There's something about the name as well, Krintati, the vowels, the sounds in the nakshatra, and so forth. We cover a lot of ground. This is just one of the handouts we use. So if you'd like to join that, there's some information below. Go to nakshatrasecrets.com, and we will see you in the next one. Namaste, everyone.